of, mankind, of the markets, of business, of AI, real estate. And I cover all of these things. Being an entrepreneur, being a real estate agent myself, I love to cover these issues and topics because if you don't talk about them, then guess what? History repeats itself. Those who fail to follow history are doomed to repeat it, right? So let's look at the markets. Let's see what we're looking into today. And I wanted to introduce you to a new platform where you're able to essentially do some pretty concise geopolitical research. Okay, so I thought this was pretty cool. And again, this is through Glint. And so anybody who's an analyst, anybody who likes to study the markets, you can study everything all in one right here. Glint's pretty powerful. So it's showing you all of the military activity, but not just that, you also get market activity and basically critical updates, right? So all these little red dots here are showing you critical updates on the map of the major events and sequences that are happening right now in Iran, the Middle East. And right now, Israel's getting hit pretty hard, right? So they're getting affected pretty bad by this entire thing. Okay, so Iran essentially being unprovoked, they were essentially attacked by the United States and Iran. This was the middle of the day. And essentially, Trump said that they're going to go even harder on Iran. And so Israel is taking a lot of heat right now. You can see all of the activity, all of the military movements, all of the posts and critical updates. So again, critical updates. 2 minutes ago, oil supertanker rates soar to a record on the Middle East conflict. And again, you get all these updates through all the major platforms. So it sources right through X too. So all the biggest social media posts on X, it's finding all of them. So again, if you're into news, if you're a media hound like myself, then this is what I've been using to stay, to monitor the situation, so to speak, to see what's kind of going on, right? It's giving you updated live time info. Again, if you just click all, you're getting everything at the most. And I have it set to only give me the most critical updates because I like to see what's really going to shift the tides of the world the most, right? It also gives you ideas on movers and markets, all these cool things you can kind of look at. It gives you Polymarket right here, so you're able to kind of look at all the predictions and what people are kind of betting on. So powerful software, powerful stuff. Definitely should use it. Not an endorsement, not a plug or anything. I don't get paid for saying this, but this is just what I've been using to monitor the situation in Iran, the geopolitical and geoeconomics of everything we're seeing, how it impacts business and markets. Because honestly, inevitably, this is just the way the world is, right? This is the way things are. We have to be okay with the fact that, we live in a surveillance state now. We live in an AI surveillance state, and everything we do is constantly being watched, right? So this is why I like tracking through these kind of things, right? So these kind of softwares like Glint, very powerful stuff. You can see live time Iran HD camera footage. You can see everything that's going on right now. This is a live stream that's pretty much covering the entire war that's going on. So again, nothing seems to be happening right now, but again, throughout the day, you see a lot of this kind of activity. Okay, so with that, and then again, that notification that you just heard is every time you get a critical update. So right now, we just got one for financials. Iran war prediction markets bets draw heat. Insane. This is legal. So then we just go to the link here, and we now have our story. Iran war prediction market bets draw heat. Insane. This is legal. And again, it gives you everything you need to know. Prediction markets are facing renewed scrutiny from policymakers after U.S. launched an assault on Iran. This dynamic raises both ethical and potential insider trading concerns, according to lawmakers who are pushing back on prediction markets. It comes down to a new trade group led by President Donald Trump's former chief of staff, Mike Mulvaney. Gambling is not investing, launched to push tighter guardrails on prediction markets. So again, what does that mean? It's probably going to benefit Trump and the Trump administration and all of the elites in power more, right? It's not about left versus right. It's about the fact that it's kind of us versus them. It's the elites versus the upper class, the middle class, whatever you want to call it. So prediction markets are facing renewed scrutiny from federal lawmakers after wagers about the fate of Iranian leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the Saturday bombardment of Iran. It's insane. This is legal, said Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat from Connecticut, in a post to X, referring to another post highlighting people who had made money on the invasion. People around Trump are profiting off war and death. I'm introducing legislation ASAP to ban this. CNBC has reached out to Murphy's office for more details on his proposal. comes as a new trade group led by President Donald Trump's former acting chief of staff, Mike Mulvaney. Gambling is not an investing launch to push tighter guardrails on prediction markets. Although other lawmakers, too, have expressed concern about prediction markets after the invasion, Representative Mike Levin, Democrat from California, said on X that prediction markets cannot be a vehicle for profiting off advanced knowledge of military action. Yeah, so like the Democrats really care about anybody making money. Yeah, this is the opposite. The Democrats want people to not make money. So they're always going to be against anything making money, against anything crypto, kind of like Senator Elizabeth Warren, right? She's very against Bitcoin. She's against XRP. She's against HBAR. She's against the entire movement. And it would make millions of Americans rich, right? Millions of people around the world rich. Right, not just rich, but like better off, and it's the new standard. Gambling products, regardless of what you call them, must follow established state and tribal laws, Mulvaney said. Rebranding sports wagering as trading or investing or predicting misleads consumers, undermines responsible gaming protections, and weakens the state and tribal systems built to protect the public and fund vital community services. Kalshi, in a comment to CNBC, said it doesn't allow markets tied to death regarding betting lines over whether Caine would be out of power that have received criticism. The company issued refunds on the market, citing regulations barring wagers on the death. We included precaution on this market to make sure people could not trade on the outcome of death, the company said. Our rules were clear from the beginning. We never changed them. We settled them based on rules. We reimbursed all funds and net losses because we thought the U.S. could have been clearer for users. I mean, yeah, obviously there shouldn't be a place where we can bet on somebody's death, especially world leaders. Not okay, right? Not okay. Not okay. So, what is that video? It's probably coming from this same link. Kalshi CEO Tariq Mansour also responded to Murphy directly in a separate post saying regulated prediction markets are not allowed to do war markets. The market you're proposing is unregulated and offshore, Mansour said. NPR reported that on Polymarket, another prediction market that is not yet operational in the U.S., a user under the name Megameman cashed in for $553,000. Disclosure: CNBC and Kalshi have a commercial relationship that includes customer acquisition and a minority investment. So again, all good information you can get from this Glint app. Looks like something just happened here. Again, we're already just constantly getting updates through Glint. So use that software if you're into following the newest trends, newest markets, newest updates. This is how I've been monitoring the entire situation. Gives you a terminal here of everything that you need. Pretty cool stuff, right? Gives you the entire geo grid and everything you're looking at, all the biggest activity. Looks like the Middle East is getting hit hard too. Then after this, we're going to look into the crypto markets. So again, crypto's been getting hit hard just because of all the market manipulation. We still don't have clarity yet, right? And that's kind of why all of this is happening, right? But so we can see Israel's getting hit hard. Tel Aviv's been getting hit pretty much all day and night. Netanyahu did make a statement. Again, we're going to go look at all of these posts on X in just a moment. But I wanted to show you guys some of this powerful stuff you can do through Glint. But there you go. Again, you can see all of the air traffic and all of that activity happening. And again, you can monitor the markets through Polymarket, see all that stuff there. It's kind of an all-in-one Intel software, so good to use for people. And then with that being said, I also wanted to get into the markets now. I wanted to look over all of the different markets, crypto, and kind of what we're looking at, right? What are we kind of seeing? Well, Bitcoin is at 69,000. We're up 5%, right? Ethereum's up 8% in the last 7 days. And Binance is up almost 7%. XRP is up 2.3%. We're hanging at $1.40. Solana's at $88. A lot of the prices just haven't really been changing that much, right? It's been kind of up, down, but it's kind of been hanging around these prices that we're looking at here on the screen. Bitcoin at 69,000, but I think that will be going up. I think they're going to need crypto and digital assets in order to remain relevant. As they kind of build in the new financial infrastructure. So as we look at the CMSC Crypto Fear and Greed Index, we're at 15. Extreme fear now. So again, we've gone back down. We were at 16, but now we're at 15. Seems like everybody's kind of getting back into the motions for investing, but this war is not going to help, right? A lot of people are going to not feel so great about things. The only people who are going to really benefit are those, of course, who are investing in oil futures. So again, let's take a look at the oil futures. The crude oil is up today, and that's up 6%. Brent last day, financial futures, that's up. New York Harbor ULSD is up. All of these are up. Henry Hub natural gas futures is up. RBOB gasoline futures are up. E-mini crude oil futures are up. This is why I said a few days ago, I was right. You would have made some money if you would have listened to me. I said you need to invest in oil futures. We're about to be in a war with Iran. And look at that. So now the oil prices are up. If you want the billionaire route, I like XLE. I'm kind of a fan of XLE. You type in that ticker, and that's kind of more my style because it's kind of like an S&P 500 of the entire energy market. And it kind of gives you a little bit of exposure to gold, but this is like your specific. If you wanted to like directly invest in gold, then this is typically what you'd invest in, right? But I like, again, I don't know, not financial advice, but I like XLE. I think that's kind of a exposure. That's an exposure to everything. Top 10 markets in energy itself. Okay, so again, this is what's happening in the energy sector. Massive movement, right? Massive movement. Of course, any kind of war activity that we're going to see, and we're going to see ramped up war. More stuff's coming with Iran. We've only just begun. Iran has only just begun to fight back. This is definitely not the end of it. So with that being said, crude oil is going to go up. Prices of oil is going to go up. You're going to see fluctuations here and there based on based on remarks that president says. I think he's giving a statement right now. But maybe we'll look at that. Gold markets. Apparently, people were saying that gold and silver were crashing. So silver seems to maybe be going down. Platinum's at 2,307. Palladium's at 1,794. Yeah, palladium's down a lot. Palladium's down. But gold seems to be up just a little bit, kind of hanging strong, $5,324.80, and silver's at $88.78. So, I mean, I don't know, everything seems to be fine to me with gold as I'm looking at it. Make sure that everything's all good. All right. But as I'm kind of looking at everything here, what do you guys think about the markets? What do you guys think about where things are going? Where do you guys think we're heading for all of the massive news that's going down today in the algorithms? So these were just some of the posts that I had bookmarked. President Donald Trump is expected to address the situation involving Iran during remarks from the White House at 11 a.m. And then there's also the big crash in the gold and silver. Gold and silver have wiped out $1.1 trillion in just 60 minutes. Gold is down 2.05%, erasing $750 billion. Silver is down 7%, erasing $370 billion. So that seems to be going on in the markets right now. That was posted by the Bull Theory on X 2 hours ago. Watcher Guru posted 30 minutes ago, Israel's Tel Aviv stock exchange closes at a new all-time high. So that's interesting. 16,150 for the Tel Aviv stock exchange. So strangely enough, after all of this war, they are going up. The stock market's going up. So their stock's going up. What's the deal with that? Crusaders newsletter posted latest. The Deutsche Bank is rolling out Ripple's blockchain tech to speed up global payments, FX flows, and custody, cutting days-long settlement to seconds. Bullish for XRP as it validates and expands adoption for the XRP ledger. And the XRP is very powerful technology. It's not being talked about. A lot of the Bitcoin maxis refuse to acknowledge the fact that XRP is very powerful stuff. They refuse to acknowledge that XRP absolutely does have a lot of potential. XRP is it's a global currency, and that's the big fear from all of these Bitcoin maxis, from a lot of the people who are anti-XRP. They say it's a banker's coin, it's this, it's that. It's like, well, at the end of the day, it's probably the better bet you're going to get when it comes to decentralization. It's more decentralized than Bitcoin is actually, and it is like the pipeline. It's pretty much the piping system to crypto itself, along with HBAR, right? So a lot of these things, a lot of these cryptocurrencies, it's all about utility, right? XRP is like 1,500 transactions per second. You can't compete with that. Bitcoin can't, at least, because Bitcoin's long. It takes forever. It takes at least an hour to really do a transaction. Then the gas fees with Ethereum doesn't really add up because that's too expensive. Banks aren't going to want to work with something that has that kind of gas fees like that. They don't want slow transactions. They want cross-border payments that are instant, low cost. Everything is about cost. Everything is about low cost, affordability, and when it comes to the billionaires, making sure that everything's hedged for long term, right? And that has to do with the banks, the central banks, the Federal Reserve, right? We're resetting the financial system. You see all of these things happening in the Iran war. You hear Trump talking about how he's going to essentially reset the entire global currency. Larry Fink has talked about this, how he's going to make everything mostly cryptocurrency, mostly, a future where everything is technology and smart technology. Everything is going to be stuff where, payment systems where things are just hyper efficient. And so I don't know if Bitcoin is going to be able to hold a candle to that. So again, as we're kind of looking at all this, what do you guys think about the markets? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about everything that's happening? What do you guys think? I think ultimately there is just really no consolation for people who are really invested in the market in a way that, like we're paying attention to the future. Sorry, I had to do something on my phone there. There we go. So what do you guys think about what's going on? Again, market flash update. Bitcoin is pumping hard. Whales are squeezing shorts. Fake pump first. Downside nets. Nets lows are likely. Dynamic resistance. White line. Break it. 74,000 fast. Observe carefully before fresh entries. Trump is talking tonight. All is possible, And yeah, that's very true. So as we look at all of this, Justin, Anthony, Pompliano's Bitcoin Treasury Company adds 450 Bitcoin per report. That's crazy. That's big news. Very big news. That's very positive for the entire crypto market, by the way. That's good stuff. That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to know. And this is the recent statement from Trump. This is what he just said now. We'll listen to this right now.
Launched Operation
This speech was just made 27 minutes ago. So this is brand new in the algorithm. Let's take a listen to what Trump has to say.
For the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest,
Not good. Not good.
most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building.
Again, this is going to get us into a long-term war that it's definitely not going to benefit the United States. The only way it will benefit America is because Russia and China will no longer be allied with Iran in as much as a powerful way.
In a matter of literally minutes.
This only benefits Israel, the state of Israel. And again, it's like that's okay, but it's not okay for Americans.
Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
Come on, eh? Do you think Trump purposefully said his name wrong?
This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries.
Don't forget that this is all about a regime change. We are doing a regime change in Iran right now. That is the objective of the CIA, of the military-industrial complex. That's what we're doing here, right? And that's the idea. So don't get lost in all the sauce and all the Trump rhetoric. That's the truth of the matter is that we are definitely going to war with Iran for regime change and on Israel's behalf.
Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue.
This is so dumb. This is just not smart. This is not good for America. And reason being, more U.S. troops are going to die. The American taxpayer is going to pay billions of dollars for this war. And it's going to last us another 20 years in the Middle East. And I mean, ultimately, it makes no sense. This is a war in the Middle East. It's never ended. There's always been war in the Middle East. There's always been chaos in the Middle East. And it's kind of an unwinnable thing. And really what they're trying to do, and when I say they, I'm talking about the state of Israel, the fifth column in the United States, they want America to get involved in this war, so it will basically strong arm the United States. It will price us out of everything else. We will spend all of our time and resources on this war. And in the meantime, Israel will become the new Silk Road of the Middle East, the middle of the world, as they like to say. The Greater Israel Project, Pax Judaica, the Abraham Accords, through all of these things and these real estate deals, you're going to see a lot of development, construction, reconstruction in the Gaza area and the West Bank. And the crazy thing is, that's what this is all about. It's all a real estate deal. It's all a real estate deal. And, just being a real estate agent, it's a little surreal to me to kind of look at all of this. And it's just like, man, all of this war, the genocide, the craziness, the people who have died, the soldiers on all sides, no matter which army it is, who are dying. And it's like, why? It's like, well, for real estate in Gaza. It's like, well, why? Well, so old men who are near their end times are literally just like trying to cling on to life by destroying everybody else for the whole world. Okay, so I'm not okay with this war with Iran. And I say this as somebody who supports Trump. I liked Trump for a long time. Voted for him a few times, right? And I was a Trump supporter all the way through and through. But to see this, it's just like completely the opposite of what he ran on. And it's very telling. It tells us that, with the Epstein files recently being released, what else is Trump implicated in? And is that why we're hearing this statement right now? Is it because whatever's in those Epstein files is rather damning to him or his friends, as he likes to say? And this goes for everybody, Republicans, Democrats. I just think this is a time where nobody can really take a side anymore. We have to just go against our own politicians these days who are trying to get us all into a war. So basically, we are all paying taxes to go to war forever. And it's like, no, that's actually indentured servitude and slavery. So let's keep listening to what Trump has to say about the war with Iran, 2026.
Until all of our objectives are achieved, we have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action.
Yeah, because why are we there? Why are we sending our troops over there, though? There's no reason for us to do that other than to fight and defend Israel. The French president has sent, or I think it was the French president, or it was the UK or something. They're sending their troops over here to fight, over to the Middle East, over to the Mediterranean, to fight this entire war, for Israel. This is crazy. This is World War III, and for reasons of which are so ridiculous and don't even need to happen. So just wild. Absolutely wild. The PSYOP is winning on the masses.
One nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery.
Trump's looking good, though. I mean, he's got the suit, he's got the blue tie, he's looking nice, he's looking fly. At least he's looking good. At least our president's looking strong, but he's feeling strong for sure. He loves going to war. I honestly feel like war gives this guy energy. Like war gives this guy strength. It's kind of strange, right?
Of the wounded, and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more before it ends.
Some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Does that not remind you of Lord Farquaad from Shrek? Like what? Like, some of you may die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make. Like, is that what we just heard? Like, hey, you guys are going to die. That's all right. Because we're fighting for Israel.
It's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against.
Again, we're just hearing a lot of George Bush rhetoric. We're going to go fight the terrorists. We're going to fight the terrorists. We're going to go take them down because 9/11, we're never going to let it happen again.
Basically, civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself.
That's us. That's the United States. It's such, anytime you hear politicians saying this about another country, it's probably them who's doing it, right? It's total gaslighting. Everything we're saying that they're doing is what we are doing.
Resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest,
Wait, what did he just say? Did I just
most
hear?
powerful.
Did I just hear about Israel? Why am I hearing about Israel?
Otherwise, that of Israel
What?
has basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been.
What? Wait, what? One more time?
Basically, civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel.
Our resolve, and likewise of that of Israel? Did you just hear what the president just said? What? One more time. People miss these things. People miss these things.
Against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of
What? Like go on Epstein Island? Come on, man.
warriors who are.
Nobody wants this war in America. Nobody with an IQ above 110 wants this war with Iran. It actually makes no sense to anybody with an IQ above 110. Nobody wants this war with Iran. I mean, honest to God. And I mean, again, the people who have high IQs, the high function psychopaths, I mean, of course, they want war, right? But this is just not going to be good for the United States on Israel's behalf.
Willing to lay down their lives to do battle
For Israel,
with our enemies. And they do battle better than
Israel.
anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation.
Again, remember, here's the nuclear talk. Again, Trump has been saying this. Netanyahu's been saying this like for decades, that Iran is going to develop a nuclear weapon. If we do not act on Iran, they will develop a nuclear weapon and they could attack the United States. It could be very dangerous. And it's like, come on. You know, we've been hearing that from Netanyahu for decades. And it's like, come on, that was never happening. Actually, the facts are that Iran have been denuclearizing. They have been ending their nuclear program. They have been de-enriching. So ultimately, they've been following these entire denuclearization doctrines. And even to this day, no matter what, it still wasn't enough for the United States, for Israel. And now we're going to be implicated in all of this. We're going to see retaliatory attacks. We already had 2 retaliatory attacks on Cincinnati, Ohio, and then Austin, Texas just before that, all in yesterday's events. Probably going to see more of it happen because this is an unprovoked war that the United States just started with Iran. Again, 90 million people, not going to be a smart war to fight. We're not going to have the resources or the means to fight it. Eventually, America is going to have to let Israel just do their thing with Iran. And they're just going to have to fight it out on their own. But that's kind of where I'm seeing things because ultimately, otherwise, it's going to crush the United States economy. We're talking about business markets here. We're talking about things that are actually happening in the world. We're talking about the red pill. We're not talking about LinkedIn information. We're not talking about all the stuff that, you know, the 9-to-5 isn't going to let you talk about. All of this stuff is the real world. This is the stuff people actually care about and people want to hear about. So this is what's happening. It affects the markets. It affects crypto. It affects gold. It affects futures. It affects the oil markets. It affects cyber. It affects AI. All of it ties together. And if you actually want to be thinking like the elites, you want to play at the level of the elites, you got to know the way they play this game. And so, again, this is just the denuclearization or the nuclearization talk of Iran, the same talking point that that Netanyahu has had for decades. And again, all for a precursor to get us into this war with Iran that we're seeing today.
Raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I
don't know about that. Are you sure it's not Israel's military? Because, I mean, why aren't we just saying no to this? I mean, Trump is the one who ran on not getting into war with Iran. Trump is the one who ran on not getting America involved in another 20-year war. He was going to be the peace president. So I don't completely blame Trump because I understand that he's surrounded by sharks. I understand that Trump's been surrounded by the cabal for years. He's one man. I understand the way the presidential office and the executive office is basically extremely compartmentalized. Anybody who's been in the White House and understands how things really work and understands how these intelligence agencies work, how people kind of work, how everything interconnects. You really talk to these people and you see these people and you see how things actually operate. He doesn't know what's going on fully, and you have to know that. No president does. No president has full and total power or control. He it's like you have agency as the president. You can make remarks that force action in Congress. And it's just like, at this point, I just think Trump he has to be implicated in the Epstein files or something. Or there's just a deeper agenda. There is some 5D chess plan, one of the two. But I don't believe in the 5D chess plan. A lot of people do. I don't. I just don't. This is not good that we're at war with Iran. Definitely not good.
Built our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose.
We want to have it for a good purpose so we can go invade other countries who are sovereign. Like newsflash, Trump, I hate to say it, brother, but ultimately the Iranian people were not thrilled about the death of their leader, Khamenei. They were not thrilled about it. They weren't happy about it. I saw a pretty good group of people, whether that was AI or not, whether that was pre-filmed or not. I didn't really Grokpedia that. But ultimately, we do know that from what we're seeing, it doesn't seem like there is a huge, there's not huge support for what the United States and Israel did in this operation. So it's and again, this is the only thing that this really benefits America and at least geopolitically is that Russia and China will have less access to that oil in that area. So if we could secure the oil, then we'll also be able to leverage that oil we just took in Venezuela. So that's how all of this is operating. We've kind of alienated Russia and China, who basically had a transactional relationship with Iran on their oil. And 20% of the world's oil was coming from Iran through the Strait of Hormuz, right? So, and now the Strait of Hormuz is closed, at least to our knowledge. So that's what's happening now. Now there's entire madness is going on, and the entire geopolitical grid is being shook.
Undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats.
To me, I think that's just definitely more Israel. I think we can all agree on that.
For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while
that's Israel,
chanting the slogan, "Death to America" or "Death to Israel" or both. They are the worst.
Why is Israel continuing to be mentioned here? It's like he knows part of this script is that you have to mention the Israeli people because the Israeli people are a part of America. It's like now we have to include them in everything we do because this war is for them.
World's #1 state sponsor of terror.
That's
we are
Israel.
the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death.
Donald Trump.
Won't be pretty.
I mean, we should have known what we were getting, right? I mean, he's definitely a wartime president. I mean, we should have known already.
I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors.
And I guess that's it.
God bless the United States of America.
The United States of Israel. God bless the United States of Israel, apparently. Yeah, so that is the statement that Donald Trump made just a half an hour ago. And that was basically him saying that we are going to continue the war with Iran, that all of this is going to persist and continue. Okay, so this is a good time to really discuss a little bit of what's happening with the entire Saudi Arabian deal and how this is kind of connected to the markets, how this is connected to America, Israel, and everything that's happening now in the markets, right? Again, let's see how we'll check these markets real quick. We'll see if anything's changed while this stream has been going. Checking the prices now, it looks like everything's pretty much the same as before. Bitcoin at 69,000, Ethereum at 2,000, XRP's at $1.40, and Solana's at 88 bucks, Dogecoin at 9 cents, Cardano at 28 cents, Chainlink $9.15, Monero's at 350 bucks. So everything's pretty much at the same prices that they were when we started the stream. Yeah, I mean, oil futures, right? Oil futures are up. Crude oil, all of it. That's going up because we're at war with Iran. So this is what's affecting the business markets today, the AI markets today. Elon Musk already made an announcement that he's using Starlink to essentially help, track this entire war, right? So let's take a look at this video. Professor Caine, he's the owner of the Predictive History YouTube channel, but I thought this was important. He talks about how the House of Saud are actually crypto-Zionists installed by the British Empire. Rulers of Saudi Arabia are traitors to Islam working for Israel. And I definitely see this being true, right? I think this definitely does impact things because a lot of money in the Saudi Arabian royal family there, right? And so we ask, why did Iran attack Saudi Arabia? Why did they attack Dubai? Why did they do that? Well, you have to understand, Saudi Arabia just recently stated that they were going to take the side of America and Israel and to fight Iran. They also advocated for they advocated for the destruction of the Shia and all of that. Okay, so with that being said, the Iranians obviously seen that as betrayal to their own people, right? So that's what we're seeing unfold now, and that's kind of why Saudi Arabia has been getting hit pretty hard. Now, also because of Qatar and the relationships that Qatar has with a lot of our U.S. diplomats and politicians and journalists, all of those things combined. Okay, so let's listen to this description and kind of the way Professor Caine explains it.
History. Okay, so this is 2003. The Americans go into Baghdad and they capture all the state systems of the Iraqi regime. Okay, and when they go over the files of the Iraqi intelligence agency, the Iraqis were actually convinced that the House of Saud or crypto.
And again, this is on SNEAKO's channel. Be sure to follow SNEAKO for sure. He made some pretty good content, and he made a series pretty much covering all of the predictive history channels that were covering the Middle East and the entire Iran war, down to the philosophical and down to the ancient story. So pretty good channel, SNEAKO. Make sure you follow him on X. Subscribe to him on YouTube as well. Same thing with the Predictive History YouTube channel.
Jews, but that these people, the House of Saud, these were crypto Jews. They were Sabbatean Frankists. Okay. Yeah. So this goes back to Sabbath Zevi. 1666, he declares he's a Messiah, and then he is threatened by the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, saying that either your head or the turban. Okay, you either convert to Islam or I will take your head. And Sabbath Zevi converts. And then 300 families called the Dome. It's called turncoat in the language.
Turks.
But they convert with it, the Turks, okay? And the Dome are important because the Dome then aligned with the British Empire to overthrow the Ottoman Empire. And the Dome are the ones.
Yeah, this is important to know because the reason we're watching this, why this affects the business markets, why this affects geoeconomics is because what we're seeing happening in Saudi Arabia, who is a big trade partner with the United States, Saudi Arabia is being attacked right now. The United Arab Emirates, essentially Dubai, the city of Dubai, and they've been being attacked by drones and whatnot by Iran. And this was, again, after Saudi Arabia sided with the United States and Israel in their regime change operation against Iran, which took place yesterday.
Who are responsible for the Young Turk movement.
And the day before that.
Ataturk, okay? But not only that, but the Dome then spread around the region, and they also become the House of Saud. Okay, so that's the origin of these families in the Middle East.
Is this proven about I love Saudi Arabia. I travel there all the time, but what's the evidence of that?
Um, well, like, again, I don't actually use documentary evidence in my classes. I use a lot of first principle thinking. Okay. But I'm trying to explain why the House of Saud is in charge, who put them in power, and why they were put into power, and who the British Empire would trust to put into power. Okay. So the British Empire put the House of Saud into power. Why would they do that? And
That's
well, they would
crazy.
do that because they know the House of Saud would be loyal to the British Empire. And why would they be loyal? Because the House of Saud is compromised and they're secretly crypto Jews, and therefore they have no choice but to align with a greater power, whether it's the British Empire or the American Empire afterwards. So again, I don't have evidence, but
So what do you guys think about that? Again,
history.
good channel.
Okay.
Predictive History is what that's called, his
So this is-
YouTube channel. And then this is SNEAKO's channel where he interviewed him from. So be sure to follow that. Thought this was interesting. This is from Crypto for Ghani. 100 years we've been waiting for this year. 2026 is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yeah. Take a look at this. So again, this shows you all the different markets throughout history. 1927, 1945, 1965, 1981. These were all years of good times, high prices, and time to sell. Look at that. In 2019, COVID. Yep. Crazy. What do you guys think? Important. Got to think that way. Whales are buying Bitcoin like never before. We're seeing that in the markets. Again, here's some more activity. Bankrupting the proxy. The IAF is systematically leveling Al-Qard, Al-Hassan buildings across Lebanon tonight. These aren't just buildings. They are the ATM of Hezbollah. By destroying this financial infrastructure, Israel is cutting off direct cash flow used to pay fighters to buy munitions during Operation Roaring Lion. So the war is happening. There's no going back. 20 years at least will be locked in my opinion. SEC Division of Enforcement announces significant updates to enforcement manual. Again, that's something we ought to be looking at. Take a look through this. You can pause the video at any time and take a look through this. But here is the SEC Division of Enforcement announces significant updates to enforcement manual. So if you want to look through this, you want to summarize this, be sure to, for sure, take a read. That's kind of where we're at. So what do you guys think about what's going on in the markets today? What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to be the biggest movers in 2026? Do you guys think Bitcoin will hit 250,000? Do you guys think XRP will hit $10 before the end of 2026? Or do you think the market will be completely crashed? Do you think it will be more market manipulation? Do you think the Clarity Act will pass? What are you thinking? Brace for false flag from desperate banks who have spent all of our pension and sold gold and silver they don't actually own. Yep. Bank of England must plan for a financial crisis triggered by aliens, illegal aliens, says former policy expert. That comes from The Independent. Crazy. Financial datasets, MCP server, shows that model context protocol, Claude and other AI assistants are retrieving income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, stock prices, and market news directly through MCP interface. Claude just got access to live stock prices, balance sheets, cash flow statements, and banking company news in real time. No hallucinations in the software, no guessing, actual structured financial data. It's called Financial Datasets MCP Server, and Wall Street should be nervous. Yep. That was big. I thought that was a pretty big post. People need to be a little bit careful about all these things happening in the future. Financial Times posted that in moments of extreme uncertainty, investors usually rush to the safety of U.S. government bonds, but not this time. Again, this shows Iran. Again, this article pretty much, I think we already covered a lot of it. So again, we covered a lot of this, but basically because of the entire situation happening in Iran, it's causing markets to essentially implode, right?
Then said, it's about to get even less safe. He said, quote, we haven't even started hitting.
So here is a statement from Trump essentially on the Iran war and what he thinks is going to happen with that next.
It's not safe out there. And then the president said, it's about to get even less safe. He said, quote, we haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon. It's not safe out there.
It's definitely not good. Not good things to be hearing from the president of the United States. These people need to be just brought out of office at this point.
Roaring lion.
Again, here's Netanyahu and everything he had to state about the entire issue. Again, this is just a bunch of old men, old elites who are just ruining the planet because they're on their way out. That's kind of the way I see it. And it's just destroying our world, our economy, our country, everything. And all these other countries that were sovereign and independent. Listen, it's like, I'm all for Western hemispheric dominance. I'm all for the Monroe Doctrine. But taking all these countries in the eastern, east of the Horn of Africa, none of that makes any sense. Really, I mean, come on. None of that makes any sense at all.
This is the third day of the Operation Roaring Lion, the operation, the Israeli.
Again, this is Prime Minister Netanyahu's statements. Recently, this was today, his statements on Operation Roaring Lion, where they attacked Iran.
The army and the state of Israel set out to, with our great friends, the United States of America and President Trump, to thwart existential threats to Israel and great threats to America and the entire world. When I stand here in a place that was bombarded by the terrorists in Tehran against innocent civilians, you see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians.
You're a tyrant.
We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians. I've said for many years that...
I mean, like, he fled to Berlin for a reason. It was funny, or it wasn't funny, but there was reports coming out that he was killed in the bombings. So that was who knows when this video was actually made. It looks like this was made today, from what I know, from what I looked up. But again, people were saying that he was killed, that Prime Minister Netanyahu was killed in the missile strikes by Iran. But then here he is today. So fake news, it travels fast, right? This is why it's so important to follow the facts, the information, and where it leads.
They threaten not only Israel and not only America. They chant death to Israel, death to America. That's their ultimate target. But I said that they would also target those in between, that they would target Europe. They did. And if this regime, this terrorist regime of the kind we've never seen in the world, if they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles.
See, he's been saying this, again, there's that same talking point that Trump was making in his 6-minute speech that we just watched. Same thing. Iran's been trying to develop a nuclear weapon. Iran could have a nuclear weapon. And if Iran has a nuclear weapon, America and Israel will be in great trouble. It's like it's always the same script.
Nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them. Ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Intercontinental ballistic missiles. They could destroy the United States and America.
All of humanity. So we set out to protect ourselves, but in so doing, we protect many others. And I want to say special thanks to our great friend and a great leader of the world, Donald Trump, for joining us in this crucial effort to save the world.
And that was Prime Minister Netanyahu's statements on bombing Iran and taking out Khamenei and the 40-plus Ayatollah leaders. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that the Ayatollah has been taken out. Okay, we don't want them in American soil, though. And now they're going to be coming to America in retaliation. And then also, we have sleeper cells who are already here. Again, Austin, Texas last night. We have Cincinnati, Ohio last night. And so after all these events, we're going to have more of these refugees coming over here and bringing jihad. Okay, and they have every right to, because it is an unprovoked attack on Iran on behalf of the state of Israel, for the state of Israel. Absolutely no reciprocal benefit to the United States from this attack. President Donald Trump commented on the strikes against Iran, saying that the United States has not even started hitting yet. We listened to that video. This has been going viral in the X algorithm. It's not anything related to business, but we'll watch it anyways. What did you guys think? Do you guys think this is the real Jim Carrey or not? I think he obviously got some fillers or something, but this is definitely a strange video.
Challenge trying to do my speech in French, so I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy.
This is so weird. This looks like and apparently we already know that this was the guy who was playing Jim Carrey here. This is not really Jim Carrey. We know that now. Apparently the real guy who played Jim Carrey He was like some actor, and he was wearing a mask.
You know, it's yeah. Then I watched every.
That's the conspiracy theory, at least on X. That's kind of what's going out. I don't want to be seen as this crazy guy, but I did think this was a weird video. That does not look like Jim Carrey. This isn't a dude who acts like Jim Carrey. Not that any of this matters, but again, still really weird stuff. Again, this was the Breaking Scary Movie 6 trailer. Just got released. Looked a little interesting, but we won't cover that. Macron orders the increase of nuclear warheads in France's arsenal, declaring that France will no longer disclose the size of its nuclear stockpile.
Order to put pay to any.
And what does this mean? Well, this means oil prices going up. Again, war.
I have ordered that.
This also means that the crypto markets and the central bank digital currency and the Clarity Act could be moved forward even faster, actually, because they're going to need that in order to finance this war. Again, America's $38 trillion in debt. How are we going to pay for this war? Crypto.
We increase the number of nuclear warheads on our arsenal in order to put pay to any speculation. We will no longer communicate on the figures regarding our nuclear arsenal, contrary to past practice. In order to be free, therefore, we must be feared. And in order to be feared, we have to be powerful. This increase in our arsenal reflects that.
These people should never be trusted with a nuclear weapon. And it's because all of these people are pretty much all compromised, blackmailed, bought off, totally kind of working against the interests of their own people and their countries. Crazy.
Approach. But in order to be powerful, and this is the second part of my
all they care about is power.
We have to be united, and I'm going to speak about Europe.
Oh my God. It's just wild. It's all breaking out. It's been confirmed that Israel killed Patrick Bet-David's upcoming podcast guest, Mahmoud. Oh my God. Why is it always these names? Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, Iran's ex-president, who said Israel must be wiped off the map in airstrikes. Patrick Bet-David, Iran's former president, Ahmadinejad, was scheduled to appear on the podcast, but his team canceled last minute due to concerns for his safety. If the current reporting situation is accurate, their concerns were justified. Interesting. Beirut is getting blasted. So again, this was a big story. This was circulating on X about 13 hours ago. But I wanted to save it here in the bookmarks because, again, it was active in the algorithm overnight. And this is what happened. This is what's happening. This is what's affecting all of the markets. This is why the prices are what you're seeing right now. So, again, I thought this was an important clip. But we'll play that in the 7 p.m. show. Again, be sure to subscribe to Eckert Geopolitics every night, 7 p.m. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that. Be sure to work with me. Shoot me a DM. And we'll help you grow your business. I'll help you grow your YouTube channel. We build websites, all that stuff. So work with me. Shoot me a DM. You want to work with me in real estate? I'm a real estate agent. You're looking to invest in Michigan real estate? Call me up. Let's find you the best deal. Let's find you the best transaction. Let's talk about your financial situation, what's going on, and kind of where you're at. So that way you don't have to live in a world where imagine if you had to live in Iran right now. Imagine if you had to live and all these different places that are under the siege of war right now, right? Work with a realtor like me you can trust so you can avoid this kind of, you don't have to live in a place like this. No offense, but this is not good. Iran continues to maliciously launch ballistic missiles, indiscriminately targeting military and civilian locations throughout the region. U.S. forces remain on the hunt to eliminate this threat. As the president has said, our resolve has never been stronger. Breaking, retired Major General Neil McCausland, long connected to UFO programs, is reported to be missing. McCausland was responsible for managing the Air Force's $2.2 billion science and technology program at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. McCausland was mentioned in the 2016 WikiLeaks emails as an advisor to Tom DeLonge regarding how to move forward with the UFO disclosure. Let's take a look at this video. You think this will affect the markets? Oh, this will affect the markets. Let me tell you, whether it's fake, whether it's real, whether it's fake, all of this is, it definitely impacts the markets. Hold on, this is being all weird. It's being all weird. Can't see the volume here. There we go.
Major General Neil McCausland, who is the former head of the Foreign Technology Back Engineering Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. This is whom I suspect was the general that Tom met with at an airport and who collected Tom his advisors. Major General McCaslin is responsible for managing the Air Force's $2.2 billion science and technology program. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the base where General McCaslin oversaw, has a long history with the UFO phenomenon, being the place that the infamous Project Blue Book was based out of, and where all of the Project Blue Book files are located. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is also the place where the Army officially reported they took the crashed UFO wreckage from Roswell, New Mexico, before redacting their story and claiming it was a new weather balloon.
Sorry about that. I lost track of the screen there. Didn't realize that we were losing frames, but we're back now. So again, we kind of listened to that. We got to get back on track, though, because the video got all staticky and frozen there. So anyways, the Ministry of Defense has activated an air and sea bridge to move military equipment and ammunition to the Israeli Defense Army. Over the past 24 hours, the first cargo aircraft arrived in Israel carrying different types of ammunition and defense supplies. Defense Minister Israel Katz and Major General Amir Bar M emphasized that maintaining operational continuity is a top priority as preparations continue for a possible expansion of fighting to additional fronts. The pace of shipments is expected to increase in the coming days. So again, we're seeing shipments of military equipment and ammunition being sent out. This is the Strait of Hormuz traffic dropping sharply amid regional escalation. So again, anybody watching this right now, this episode is more for the oil guys, right? We usually focus on crypto, we focus on XRP, we focus on Bitcoin, we focus on all the biggest things happening and with the emerging markets. But we're talking about emerging markets. And the emerging market now is the oil industry, right? Oil is going to be going up. Crude oil is already up right now, as we've looked before. Crude oil is up. Crude oil is strong. Crude oil is making moves. And again, because whenever there's a war, we need to produce everything somewhere, right? So this is why you need to stay ahead of the markets. You got to be able to follow what's going on. You got to be able to follow the gold markets. You got to be able to know, what's happening in the energy markets. Are you invested in XLE so you can have the S&P 500 of all energy, right? But these are the markets, and this is what's been this is what the crude oil futures and everything else, all the other oil futures have been looking like. We're up like 5% on all of these. Okay, 10% on the New York Harbor ULSD. So that's insane. Okay, movements are happening. We're 35% up on the Dutch TTF natural gas calendar month. Wild. So are you investing in oil? You ought to be, because big things are happening, right? So again, that was the activity in the Strait of Hormuz that we just watched. Here's the video of that Jim Carrey guy. This is the man who played Jim Carrey in that video that we just watched. Apparently, he had come out and said that the viral video dedicated to come forward and reveal everything was him. He posted a video of the mask and dentures he used. That's so crazy. So here was the mask. He just posted a photo on his story showing the mold after people asked for proof he was not pranking us. Imagine if what really happened is they asked Alex to cover it up after nobody was believed that Jim Carrey was actually him. That's crazy. So basically, yeah, they found out that this wasn't even the real Jim Carrey. It was never him. It was never him. It was a mask. Makes you think a lot about who is running your country. How easily they can throw a mask on somebody today.
Operation. The military objective.
So again, covering the General Dan Caine. This is not a single overnight operation. We expect to take additional losses. So again, it is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Lord Farquaad, right? Lord Farquaad from Shrek. That's what this all reminds me of. Some of you will die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
So let me start with a few details. First, to be clear, as the Secretary said, this is not a single overnight operation. The
Just got a war
military
update.
objectives that CENTCOM and the Joint Force have been tasked with will take some time to achieve, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work. We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses. But as the Secretary said, this is major combat operations. So
again, that was General Dan Caine saying that there is not a single overnight operation. We expect to take additional losses. Pete Hegseth is running right up on the same exact narrative here. Secretary of war, Hegseth. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we will finish it. He got community notes. The U.S. and Israel's combined forces did, in fact, preemptively strike Iran first while talks were in progress. Yes. So this was a community note that was placed on the disclosed TV.
Thousands of our own. It through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq.
See, and you knew this was going to happen, that they were going to blame Iran for all of it, and that say that they did it first, that there was no preemptive strikes.
In Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carry the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and
And now you're sending more of those men to die for Israel.
armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump,
You
we
did.
are finishing it.
You started it, and you're probably going to finish it too.
Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah.
So that was the statements from Secretary of State, or Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. Again, this was breaking. Israel's president replaces Netanyahu at press conference, heightening rumors about his potential assassination after an Iran hit Netanyahu's office overnight. So again, this was the video where there was speculation as to whether or not Netanyahu had been killed. We'll do more digging on this once this clip is over.
The missile totally annihilated the synagogue and entered into the shelter because it was a direct hit of a half-a-ton missile. Children were murdered here. 9 innocent souls were lost. All night, the teams of the mayor were gathered.
And again, this is credit to SNN TV. This seems to be a local front, and a lot of the Israeli media here.
Bring the remains and the pieces. We pray with the victims and we pray with their families, and we hope that they shall find comfort.
So again, let's just fact check this. We'll actually do a fact check on this, because again, we just watched a video of Prime Minister Netanyahu giving a statement just before this. So the Post spreads unverified rumors of Israeli President Isaac Herzog replacing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at a press conference, implying his assassination following Iran's claimed overnight missile strike on his Jerusalem office. But the attached video shows a generic formal event. Yeah, I mean, no mention of anything like that. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps announced the strike targeted Netanyahu's office and Air Force headquarters using K-bar missiles, but Netanyahu's office dismissed it as fake news, with Prime Minister appearing publicly hours later to confirm his safety and vow intensified Israeli responses. Amid escalating U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, including the reported killing of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, Netanyahu addressed the nation today, stating attacks on Iran will only increase while global protests erupt and the conflict widens, drawing in Hezbollah and regional militias. So yeah, so that's the verified story on that. So if you see that information, probably not true. Okay, Netanyahu's still alive, according to what we know. He just made a statement not too long ago. Iran hit 14 countries in one night. Here's what happened to each. Again, it kind of gives you a broad stroke. 9 dead, and it is 9 dead in Israel. Beit Shemesh flattened by ballistic missiles. In the UAE, the Burj Al Arab was on fire from a drone. Abu Dhabi airport, 1 dead with 7 injuries. And in Dubai, airport concourse was hit with 4 wounded, flights in chaos. Then it shows you all of the other casualties and everything that's going on. So the movement is happening. And if you keep hearing those chimes, those are updates from the Glint terminal. So we're seeing all of the new information that's coming out, all of the critical updates from Bloomberg, a federal... Whoops. Hold on. It's coming back. Okay. A federal appeals court has rejected the Trump administration's request to delay next steps in the fight over tariff refunds for importers after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the president's signature economic policy. So that's big news. Washington Post posted 5 minutes ago that conflict in Iran is shaking energy markets worldwide as oil prices begin to soar. The key risk is the global economy is a sustained disruption of shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, which roughly is 15% of the world's oil, about 20% actually. Zelensky offered Middle Eastern countries assistance in destroying drones if they persist. The risk for global economy is a sustained disruption for shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, yeah, lost my spot there. Zelensky offered Middle Eastern countries assistance in destroying drones if they persuade Russia to agree to a ceasefire. According to Bloomberg, the Ukrainian president offered the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia assistance. So again, you're seeing the war maps be drawn. You're seeing the alliances be made. Trump administration loses push to delay tariff refund right. Some other big critical updates that came from Glint. President Trump said U.S.-Israeli war on Iran represented... Keep losing my spot. U.S.-Israel war. Oh, my God. See, it kind of updates without your permission there. So, U.S. says Iran war won't be endless as strikes engulf region. Yes, we're getting a lot of updates now. A lot of updates. Zelensky is... You can't... There's so many updates that come in from this software, you almost can't even keep up with it. So, pretty good stuff. Pretty amazing. Use this software, right? It's happening everywhere. The entire geopolitical grid is being affected by this. Okay, the entire triangle of death in the Middle East is happening. Look at that. The whole triangle of death. Crazy. And so you see all the activity happening, all the stories are coming out. Iran did not carry out attacks on oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, reports the Iranian agency Tasnim, citing a source. Quiet part out very... Oh, my gosh. This update's so fast. Can't even see. Musk's tweets ahead of Twitter purchase are focused on the new trial. So, yeah, Fidelity managed assets hit $7.1 trillion. Revenue jumps 15%. So that's a big story. So as we're covering the markets here, we talk about Fidelity and we talk about all of the markets and how they're being impacted by this entire war, right? And so that's why I like using that Glint, is because it connects the geopolitical markets to the economic markets, the geoeconomic markets. And I'm very interested and fascinated by geoeconomics because this is kind of, this is how we figure out where things are going in the markets. This is how you make the best investments, right? Fidelity managed assets hit $7.1 trillion. Revenue jumps 15%. Again, that's by Lucia Gaito Polo, however you pronounce that name. Sorry if I butchered it. So with that being said, what do you guys think about the entire markets today? What do you guys think about what's going on with the entire war? What do you guys think about what's happening with all of it? What do you guys think is going on with Iran? What do you guys think is going on with the markets, crypto, everything? What do you guys think is going to happen with XRP, with Bitcoin, with all of it? Where do you see the markets heading? Looks like the markets are actually starting to trend down now. Looks like we're actually starting to lose price action, starting to lose pricing power. Price is starting to go down in crypto. But oil futures, as we give one more checkup here, let's see where those are at. Crude oil is up along with everything else. The oil markets are starting to really go up. Okay? So you need to focus on oil. You need to focus on these bigger investments that are going to be good hedge investments for a war, and that's oil. Because we're always going to be using oil for a war especially. Okay? And don't forget about the gold markets and how those are going up right now. A lot of big things happening in the United States economy. I think there will be a global reset. I think we're walking into a financial reset. And I think all of those things are happening. I think there's no way around it. I think they're going to use digital assets to essentially acquire Greenland. I think all of this is going to become a reality. All of this is going to become a true reality of our future. So if you're invested in crypto, you're invested in the markets, then great. Be sure to subscribe to this channel every morning at 11 a.m. from Monday to Thursday, sometimes 11:30 if I'm a little delayed. I try to start this show and talk about crypto, talk about emerging markets. We talk about geopolitics, geoeconomics, AI, cyber warfare. We talk about everything. We connect all the different ties and the branches of government and all of the major events, current events. We tie them together because you cannot make conscious business decisions, whether it's investments, whether it's, in real estate, whether it's starting companies, buying companies, private equity, you name it. No matter what industry you're in, you have to know what's going on around the world. If you know what's going on around the world, you can make money off of a crisis, right? Polymarket, all these different strategies you can use. But you have to be smart enough and keen enough to have the information. You got to be obsessed with the information. So with that being said, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed this content. Be sure to tune in tonight, 7 p.m. for Ecker Geopolitics, where we'll be covering more of the Iran war. I'll give more of a geopolitical analysis, and we'll even talk about business. We'll tie them both together. But our second show tonight, 7 p.m. Subscribe to the Ecker Geopolitics